Stream is starting. I'm lighting a candle because it smells delicious.
Well, I want to light one of those. That's a good call. God, I have tea and a sugar-free Red Bull. I don't know what to drink. They're both so exciting. Let me tell you, man, I'm a simple man. If I can get some sugar-free Red Bull and some tea, I could live in a dumpster, and I'd be happy.
Yeah?
This candle might be burnt out.
Uh-oh. Gotta get yourself a better candle, bud.
I do. I really do. Yeah, this one's gone too. God damn it. One sec.
Cold morning from the Philippines, huh?
Damn it. Oops. Let me stop slamming that.
Yeah, you sound very upset.
I have no candles. I'm out of candles. I need to get more. They're expensive, though.
That's like MMR losing for you, because candles were in one of your MMR guides where you said you had to light candles to gain MMR.
People give me shit about that. People are like, oh, go light a candle. Dota Alchemy. Nice videos. What's wrong with you if you dislike candles? Come on.
I'm actually coming around to candles. I've always just kind of been like, meh, I don't really care about candles, but I kind of love them. They smell pretty nice. They give you a nice little chill light that's not like artificial and keeping you awake late. And yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with a candle.
I just think, if you don't like candles, sure, that's fine. But simple things like that will at some point, you will like them. You will like it because life is so complicated. And sometimes you just want it to be simple. And there's nothing simpler than just lighting a little flame and smelling. It smells like birthday cake. It's like when you were 13 and you got the new Lego set, the Millennium Falcon for Christmas. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you'll enjoy stuff like that at a certain point. That's experience and wisdom will make you.
Here's an interesting one. When's the last time that you took a bath, like an actual bath, where you were like in a tub?
Like yesterday.
Do you take baths regularly instead of showers?
Yes, not instead of showers, as just well as showers.
Supplementing your showering.
Yeah, I actually see. This is gonna sound absolutely insane, and I'm cool with that. But I wrote an essay about that, like a kind of like philosophical essay. Because I wrote a lot of those for like my epic philosophy minor. So I kind of got into the habit of doing it. And I told you that I've been writing stuff down more lately.
Yeah.
So I wrote an essay about how I think that you can use certain elements from your childhood that basically like burn certain neural pathways into your brain to achieve things that would normally be difficult as an adult, but because you have that neural pathway there, you can kind of like hack it. And for me, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I suppose that wasn't that long ago, but when I was in high school, I digress. I had some intense issues digestively, some really rare disorder basically, and so I was in a lot of pain. And I would go in the shower, and I would turn the shower on. I would take baths, and I would just let the hot water kind of like rise up, and you get all of the feeling
of
the heat and the pain, a little bit of heat pain, and yeah, and it would make me feel better. It would take the pain away. And because of that, whenever I get in a bath, I feel that even though the pain is gone, just because I had it for so long that I get almost the sense of pain relief without actually having felt pain by taking baths. And man, it is crazy how much more clearly I think when I get out. And it's so noticeable because I can do tasks that, you do certain jobs, certain tasks, you can literally time how long it takes you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's repetitive, and it's faster for me whenever I get out. And I think it's because of that, but I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't say for sure, but that's my theory.
Yeah, that's interesting. That makes sense. I talk about going on walks a lot, and I like to go on walks like when it's dark, early in the morning. And there's something about this process of like, experiencing the world when it's dark with like street lights and just everything looks kind of cool. And now that I think about it, I used to spend a lot of time outside at night when I was a kid, and maybe that is part of it, where I'm
Whatever
kind of
brings you
like,
comfort, man.
yeah, I'm kind of reliving like these moments where I really just enjoyed being outside when it's dark outside because everything's super quiet. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's God, I just watched a Jordan Peterson video on this to some degree. He talked about the role of like a protector in somebody's life, and the video is actually on how apparently a lot of women in their 40s, they're so used to like they have a protective father, and then they have a protective boyfriend, and they have a protective husband. And in their 40s, they encounter something that nobody can protect them from, like the death of a family member, the death of a parent. And then they have like a breakdown basically.
Hmm.
And there's actually like a word for it. There's like a, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a studied phenomenon that exists. And it's kind of like, I guess in some sense it's kind of that where for us and for everybody, like a pseudo protector is kind of those memories
That makes
that
sense.
you had, those experiences that in the time they made you feel protected for whatever reason. You're with your parents, you're with your friends, and you can go and kind of fake that same feeling, get some of that like magic back, so to speak, just by abusing the fact that it's burnt into your brain. I mean, that's how our brains work, right, with these neural pathways. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Jordan Peterson is a word salad chef. Yeah, he's pretty legit.
I think
uh,
he means that in a negative way, where he says a lot of words to sound smart to describe
well, I
simple
think that's
topics, which is
I
also
think
kind of
that's
true.
yeah, I think that's a skill.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's cool. I don't agree with everything he says, and I certainly am not a huge fan of the people that are massive sycophants of his that
I mean,
are
of course. Yeah, of course.
because there's definitely a lot of those people who think that he's literally Jesus, and it's like, okay,
Any
take a step
sycophants,
back.
like I feel the same way about people who like Undertale or Valve or any of these like absolute insane extremists whenever it comes to like following some sort of
Yeah.
any following, I should say. Any like cult following is just insanely toxic. But alas, he's still a psychologist. He says some good stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely an
All
intelligent person.
occasionally. I just click through YouTube, when you're binge watching.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Shall we start the show? We've got 80 people in here. Pretty good. We're back on YouTube. If you guys haven't noticed, we decided to bring back the show here because there's so many people who would prefer to watch on YouTube over Twitch, simply because it's easier when you're not in the U.S. From what I hear, and that's cool. We want to please the masses. So, welcome everyone to Alchemy Answers episode 64, and we are going to be titling our podcast from here on out because we want you guys to know a little bit more than just Alchemy Answers Live. What are we going to talk about today? Well, luckily, thanks to our wonderful patrons, we have some questions which are kind of in the title there. We're going to be talking about Techies, we're going to be talking about OG, we're going to be talking about Juggernaut and other meta heroes. And then we will probably take some from chat as well. So, Jenkins, anything to say before we get started?
I love you.
Perfect. I love you too.
Shadow Trader said, I was talking actually to my dad's just over there. Shadow Trader says best 2 to 3 pub heroes. Uh, okay, what are the best 2 to 3 pub combos, I should say, that you can do while queuing with a few buddies? Thoughts on Dazzle PL, Sven Grimstroke, Wind Ranger Tusk? Okay, that's all right. Dazzle PL is pretty good. I like Dazzle PA. That's a pretty good one, but those heroes are both kind of bad.
I like Dazzle Naga. Dazzle,
Dazzle Naga is pretty good. Yeah, that's a solid one. You spawn the illusions and then burst them down with the heal.
yeah. I really like Grimsfen. I think that is going to come back this
Yeah,
patch.
Grim Sven is solid. Jug Grim is another one. I think Wind Ranger is like a garbage hero. So unless I mean mid Wind Ranger is okay, but I presume this is like dual lane Wind Ranger Tusk. I wouldn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't really
Pair something with a
necessarily.
Lich. That hero is still really good.
Lich, yeah, Snapfire Puck. That's a really good one if you want to just like destroy team fights.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Willow and Mars, or
What about like
Mars and
Mars
Snapfire.
Snapfire? Yeah, I was just gonna
That's
say.
a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one because you can Yeah, you have the cookie to set up the spear in lane, the spear to set up the cookie. It's also nice to have like a ranged hero to work with the melee hero because you have like the beefy
Yep.
frontliner to kind of tank for them. So that's a pretty nice one. Also, like game combos, I find are quite nice. Like I said, like Snapfire Puck, that's a nice one because you just puck coil, kill anybody with snap ult. Omni plus like OD, if you have a friend that plays mid and you play offlane, you want to play offlane Omni, that's pretty good. Obviously, like your Wisp combos are going to be fantastic. Just anything that's like a game combo and not just a lane combo is really good
Yep.
because the game's not all about laning. And generally speaking, when you're queuing like duos or trios, you're going to probably need to do quite a lot of heavy lifting if you want to win those consistently. So the way that you do heavy lifting is by heroes that can do stuff together at all points without really communicating with your other two heroes, not in like a toxic way, but just in a they literally aren't in the voice comms with you sort of way.
Right. Yep. Those all sound pretty good.
Okay. Eddie Mercury says, "What do you guys think about blast-off centric techies?" So this is the namesake of our video and also the thumbnail sake, I suppose. RoboVice was pretty excited about building around the level 10, 25% magic resist talent, the 300 blast-off damage at level 15, and the 28-second cooldown reduction blast-off at level 20. Items like Piping Greaves become strong. You can be a team fighter. What does that mean? Does it mean that techies might have a new niche to grow into as the meta develops?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm actually really glad that I didn't realize that his talents actually lined up that well. Because not a whole lot of heroes have talent trees where it's like they combo off of each other extremely well. Some of them do, and those ones tend to be very good heroes, but the ones that you just listed off are like this is like the perfect combo of 3 talents in a row where you
Yeah.
can take them and be very effective with that. So I could definitely see that happening. I mean, Techie's his main weakness is that the other players in your team have to win fights 4v5 most of the time, and that's not great.
Yep, it's pretty rough playing with the techies. I like the idea that techies is going to be contributing in more ways than just blowing up everybody on the enemy team once in the game. If RoboVice is excited around something when it comes to techies, I would say that you can probably be pretty sure that it's going to be good because he coached Owie and they won a TI with basically his techies play. So that guy knows the hero in and out. My only concern with it is that the 28-second cooldown reduction, I kind of wish that that was an earlier level talent.
Yeah.
Like you don't
It'd be kind of
to
broken
get
though, I think,
it
because
would, but techies is garbage.
yeah.
So uh, I don't know. So I guess it depends. Maybe at level 10, the blast off turns out to be strong enough that just with the magic resist talent, using it in a fight and not getting yourself killed might be okay. But the 300 blast off damage, of course, it's going to be strong enough to use in a fight. But then again, at level 15, that's 300 damage, but everybody's level 15, right? So maybe that's not even that much. And so all I'm saying is I'm concerned about the timing of it. But I do like the idea that you can play techies in a different way from the way people have been playing techies forever, which is basically just laying traps for people uh, all over the map and not fighting ever. And just
Yeah, I definitely do think that you'd need to start thinking about like hero combos that set up for blast off specifically in fights, thinking about it almost as like a Leshrac style stun where you want to have like a point and click stun followed by the blast off on top of that and coordinate around that sort of combo. And then if you are playing that sort of style of techies, then it pairs very well with being able to drop a minefield sign on high ground and mine that and play around those, like because hopefully your techies will actually be there for pushes and stuff like that.
yeah, we'll see though. That's something it sounds it sounds like it could be complicated, and we'll really have to see how it like somebody's gonna need to play like 50 techies games to see if that works. Basically.
Yeah, speaking of which, if you guys haven't been to our Patreon page, there is a tier at which Jenkins and I will play 50 straight games of techies on stream.
Jesus
We
Christ.
haven't gotten there yet. We're about halfway there. So if you guys want to push us towards that goal, it's still in the air. It's
I actually,
still available.
I never anticipated we would even get halfway there. That's why
Yeah.
I was okay with that. It was because like there's no way that we're gonna get this much for Patreon. 'Cause, That's yeah, that's life. Pogasus says, "What are your thoughts about Jarex and Seb leaving OG's active roster? We all wanted to see them compete for a third title with that roster." Yeah, of course. Their thank you letters describing the brutal climate surrounding the competitive Dota was pretty eye opening for me. Jarex made a point about how tier one teams lose consistently because they're always competing against other tier one teams. How much pressure that creates. Like who will win between EG and Vici? Turns out it depends on if it's upper or lower bracket, but it doesn't mean that Team Secret doesn't even matter because Team Secret is Team Secret. Okay, hard question.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I'll go first. I understand. I totally understand Jarex and Seb. It is. I mean, I've only played on a tier two level at best. You know, so I don't even know what it's like being on tier one. But I can tell you, I have scrimmed a lot of tier one teams, and they are unrelenting. It is like if you are off your game, they will crush you with like any weakness. And people want it so much. They want to win so badly that I can totally understand that it's just stressful for them and the value of doing it. They've already won two TIs. They feel like they're at a peak. So if they're going to leave at any point, like what would be the point in winning a third one? You think people are going to remember them more because they're always going to be the team that won the two TIs nobody was expecting, like the fluke
Yeah.
team that won the second TI. I feel like there's diminishing returns on continuing to try to win and win, and I think it's very unlikely that they would win a third time. I think it was unlikely they won a second time. It's thank the Lord Ice Frog that they did because I think it's really good for Dota because they're such a genuine, cool roster of players, and they were literally, you know, they had won before, so it's great for us. But I think even they thought it was pretty unlikely because you have to play so goddamn well. And God, if they don't have it in them anymore, I could see them wanting to just move on and do other stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
just
mean,
phases in life, you know.
there was some telling parts in that True Sight if you guys have watched it yet. Um you notice that as the game ends, immediately the first thing that comes out of Kuroki or any Liquids player's mouth is about the game that they just played and what they're going to do in the next game. And that, of course, they're playing for TI, so they're going to be talking about the games because they want to strategize. But that is unrelenting. Like, if you're on a pro
They don't
Dota
give
team,
us seconds
you
to fool
actually
them.
just talk about Dota for the entire time that you're on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
There is nothing else, and I think that might be one thing that separates OG from everyone else because you saw that Seb addressed the players, well, Kuro and Liquid were talking more about the game. And I think at the end of the day, it's really important to remember that the players are human beings who have needs outside of Dota. At the end of the day, Dota is just a career, it's just a job, and money is not everything, and winning is not everything. And I've had the lucky opportunity to speak with both Jarex and Seb in person at past events, and both of them struck me as very intelligent, like deep thinking people who have a lot more to their personality than just being a Dota player. And so I'm not surprised that they
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
are interested in trying to do other things with their life than just play Dota.
Right. Right.
Um, so in some sense, I think it's almost kind of perfect because Yessi is like just he's obviously been kind of putting out that he wants to do other stuff. Like he has like this clothing stuff. He has like his own website. He's been kind of trying to build his own brand for the last couple of years. Apparently the team had to talk him back into playing again last year after winning the TI. Like he just clearly wants to do other stuff. And then Seb was a coach before. You know, he has all these other things. He was like done with Dota before joining OG as a coach.
I
And
actually with Seb, I was a part owner in a business with Seb and like two other guys. It was an esports travel business that we were working on. And then he got basically pulled into OG and
mhm,
he just went ghost. Like he went totally silent. So it's funny that you say that like I actually personally have experience with him branching out from Dota. Like
yeah.
he's very entrepreneurial,
Yes. Yes.
very good leader outside of Dota.
Yeah.
So he's just incredibly smart, and I understand why he wants to do other stuff. But it does seem like he wants to do it within esports,
Yeah.
which is really great.
Yeah.
Like it would be a shame to lose any of these players.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see him as being one of those people that really wants to stick in esports because he sees all the things that esports currently does wrong, and he has this sort of like higher perspective now, not only being at the top of the world but also coming from a position of like change where the culture of OG is what has allowed them to be so successful, and he wants to bring that kind of culture change to esports, which I think is definitely something that, I mean, we are kind of trying to do
That's a
also.
solid goal, man.
Yeah.
That's a good goal. That's a virtuous goal. That's one that could probably make him a lot of money, make him very successful, make him very happy. So I can totally understand that. I think they're in a good position to like get out of this. This is the perfect, like you said, this is the perfect time for them to move on
Yep.
and do something that's I guess more like philanthropic, at least in their eyes, or maybe not even. Maybe with Jerax, like he just wants to do the clothing thing, like you said. Was it Jerax that was doing the clothing? You
um
said.
Yeah, he was just trying out a bunch of random stuff. I think he seems like one of those people that's just like inherently very creative and just wants to like kind of do random stuff like an artist, and not really be beholden to a schedule or like responsibilities as to like a team, and not have to be in the spotlight all the time, just like retire into the mountains and like write a book or something like that. Like that's the type of person that he struck me as
Cool. Yeah.
from talking
Yeah.
to him and from the interviews that he gives. Um, Either way, both of them are going to be successful in whatever they want to do.
All I can say is I'm super happy for them.
Yeah,
I'm super like they're such good guys. You could just have massive dickheads win TI, but they're fantastic.
it's kind of like the
Most
rap
most of the
game,
tier
to
one
be
players
honest.
are.
It's kind of like the rap game. Esports and like Dota, it's kind of like being a rapper like in the early days where there was like no money. You were just grinding, you were grinding, grinding. Everything was super cutthroat. People were like, you're never going to make it. And then you break into the mainstream and it's like you're on top of the world all of a sudden. And you have all this other stuff and like family to take care of and your own responsibilities that you have been putting off for so long to like grind to take care of, and time to do some other stuff sometimes. That being said, OG's replacement announced, one of the replacements, Sumail. What do you think about that, Jenkins?
I think that's great. I think Sumail made the right choice in holding out for the right team.
Agreed.
But I could say that having suffered the scourge of Sumail playing pubs relentlessly in the past few months, he's good. He's still good. It's very awful to queue it into like a Sumail stack. It's just like it's just a loss. It's just like a
Dude, he's been relentless recently. He has
oh
been
yeah.
playing a lot of Dota.
The only way you can win is if his three people are complete morons. Like if like one of them's an account buyer or something, then you're Gucci. But my strat when I'm against Sumo is I pick Doom and I just doom him in every fight. That's I'm not even joking. Unironically, I pick Doom or I pick Puck. I
Yeah,
coil or I doom him.
that makes
That is that
sense.
is that is what I do. Because I'm telling you, that guy can pick any hero. He goes like 32-2, and then his team is all like 2-17 and shit. It seems like it's the most stressful thing, but he thrives in that. So yeah, I gotta say, like, I think they're gonna be very successful with Sumail. I still think Sumail like might be the best mid on the planet. I don't know. Maybe I'm overhyping him because,
Well, he's not playing mid on OG because they have Thompson.
well, true, yeah, but still, I think that guy's like one of the best players on the planet.
Yeah.
He's just insane at Dota. There is nobody like Sumail, nobody. So, um, and there's nobody like Ana too. I gotta say, there's nobody like Ana. There's nobody like Thompson. But these are literally the creme de la creme of like Dota players we're talking about. So of course, that's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
Speaking of matchmaking, Pegasus says, haven't seen any Smurfs since the new matchmaking update. Anybody else still having issues? It's good for me. I'm enjoying the matchmaking. I don't even care if there's a Smurf because you just get the MMR anyway. You just get the regular MMR.
Yeah. I would say today was the first time I actually tried ranked classic. I've just been playing roles, but it's been getting worse and worse. I think people must be migrating to classic because I've literally been being placed with people that are two full medals below me. Not just stars, two full medals below me, and I'm the 5, and that's supposed to be not what happens. You're supposed to be the lowest MMR as the support. But I'm consistently supporting legend players as the divine player, and it's so I finally tried out ranked classic and it's been wonderful. I literally just say, hey guys, I'll play 1, 4, or 5. I don't care which one. You guys decide, and then I just pick that role, and it works out quite well.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the new matchmaking. Maybe it's because I'm up, but I feel like I'm up MMR because I think the last week we talked about this a little bit, and I said I was like 7,200 MMR. I'm 7,300 now, and that's with some days I have some pretty significant loss streaks. So overall, even with those loss streaks, my take on it has been I'm enjoying it a lot more, and I'm obviously that's the case because I'm winning a lot more. But I feel like my theory on it is that, as you know, Donnie, and many of you in chat might know, I have the most degenerate schedule. Like I drink a lot of these. You know, I sometimes get up at 7 p.m. It's kind of fucked up, and I'm trying to deal with it. But with that being said, if you're doing that and you're queuing at 2, 3 a.m., that's prime time for Peruvian boosters and Smurfs. Like and the crazy Americans that are up at that time too. Crazy Peruvians, crazy Americans boosting and smurfing.
Yep.
And that's a lot of the time when I queue. And so I would it was the double negative is the problem. I would queue and I would lose to Smurfs, but they would be way better players than me. But instead of losing only 20, I would lose 35. So it's like the double negative. You know, you're queuing into better players, but instead of losing the normal amount, which would also be bullshit, right? Because if you're queuing against better players, you should lose less. You'd lose more as well because that's how smurfing works.
Right.
So my theory is that I'm not the type of player in Dota, unless I change my shit, which I probably should for health reasons. But I'm not the type of player that benefits from or sorry, I should say I'm the type of player that really benefits from this new matchmaking system of like if people are queuing on Smurfs, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to lose 35 when I queue at 3 a.m. like a dumbass because I am a dumbass and queue into like a bunch of Smurfs. I'm not going to lose 35 for that. I'm only going to lose 20. So now I'm being punished less for my stupidity essentially. That's my theory on this. So I'm up to 7,300 again. I'm super happy about that.
Nice. Dante Nguyen might have just leaked the news that we were going to save for the end of the stream.
Well, I mean, I need to stop sending him dick pics with things in the background because clearly he saw my whiteboard because my dick's that big, so the camera has to go all the way up. We are indeed part of OG. I'm going to be the new OG offlaner. Donnie is going to be the new OG mid laner. Thompson is going to
play 4.
Play 4, and Sumail's actually coaching. So Sumail was announced as a player or as joining the team, but as a coach.
Yeah,
and that's just because like obviously when you have
he's
Donnie
coaching me in mid lane because I've never played mid before. So
right, but he knows that Donnie has more potential than somebody like Sumail.
Right.
So
and that also leaves room for Gork to play carry, which is what everybody has been hypothesizing and asking for.
Which unfortunately means that No Tail has to step down, and he's going to be joining EG. With
No Tail's still the 5.
No,
who's the 5?
Hawkillionaire.
Oh, okay.
OG Hawkillionaire.
Well, now you've gone and ruined our very convincing acting because that's definitely not going to happen. Well, there's only room for one Australian in OG, and it's Anna.
I'd look out. He's coming for you. He's going to surpass your MMR. Well, I know it. He's getting coaching from me, and that means he's going to win. Oh, wait, I just coached you, too. By the way, coaching video coming out tomorrow, guys. I coached Donnie.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
Right.
Anyway, enough about OG. We'll see how they do in the qualifiers. I'm sure they're going to be really good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that they probably will not suffer the same kind of thing that we've seen from other teams that are forming.
No way.
I think that they're just going to go and stomp qualifiers right away.
Yeah, I agree. Not with those players. Dat Burrito says, my question is, what makes Juggernaut a good hero? I find myself wanting to play the hero, but I don't understand Jug's timings or true purpose in a game of Dota. It doesn't seem as simple as other hard carries as Spectre and PA. I'm surprised, actually. That's interesting, because I think a lot of people find Spectre and PA to be a lot harder to play than Juggernaut. That's interesting that you think about it that way.
Yeah.
You got a unique brain.
I want to answer this just because I made a Juggernaut guide with KVH. You remember KVH, right?
Oh, yeah.
who is a very good NA carry player from back in the day. I don't think he plays very much anymore, but
If he did, he would be like probably top 100.
at the time he was ranked 20. So
Yeah, no, he's good.
he's a very good carry player, and he basically explained to me that Juggernaut's entire purpose in the game is basically to create space for his team while also getting farm, because you can abuse the spin TP out. And as such, it makes him very good at going for these farming items like Battle Fury. At this point, Battle Fury was like the meta for Jug, and it may be coming back now. Who knows? Because Battle Fury is massively buffed, Jug was massively buffed. Everybody's playing Jug again in the pubs, at least in like high level Immortal games.
Yeah.
They're still going for Maelstrom and stuff, and maybe that's still the build. But the point is, you want to go for these farming items, and you want to go for big items, because your job is to basically like pull the enemy team around the map by forcing them to come defend their towers, and then they can't kill you, and then you go to the other side of the map and you make space for yourself while also getting massive items, and then you just become like this kind of mid-game beast where you just go hit towers with your healing ward behind you, and you almost bait the enemy team into trying to jump you when you're more farmed than they are, higher level than they are, and then your entire team can counter initiate around you, and then you just basically press Omni Knight or Omni Slash and become invincible. Even if you're low, you probably still wipe them and win the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, it's like a mid game carry hero. The way that you want to win on Jug is by having like 1 or 2 items on the enemy heroes and just being a beast basically. And the way you do that, like Donnie said, is through split pushing and TPing out with the spin, or just walking away. He's a fast hero too.
Yep.
But yeah, you function with items. That's how you beat a Spectre. Is you just have more items than the Spectre because you're an early game hero and she's not. Next we have Fuzzy. Space, 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 probably about 15 more times. You know it. For game awareness, what do you think about those hotkeys that select your allied heroes and the ability to bind camera positions? Is that some good but underused shit? This is good question. This is
he asks
good
good questions
question.
every week. All of his
This
questions.
is solid question.
Yeah.
Good job, Phasey. Just fucking with them. Yeah, binding camera to positions. That's sick. That's really good. Like probably Roshan, runes, that sort of thing. That's probably sick. I know people use the last what is it? Last action or something like that. It's like the last important thing that happened on the map. You can move your camera to that so you can see if somebody like if like Roshan went down or if like a tower fell or something like that. I know there are some players that pro players that use that.
Mm-hmm.
Select your allied heroes. I've never heard of that one, but that's pretty cool.
That would be a
That's
very
solid.
fast way to check on
Last
their
event,
items.
yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, you could also just click at the top, double click
I
your portraits
alt.
at the top.
Yeah, exactly. I hold alt and then I just check their HP and resources and cooldowns and stuff and then click them there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure. I think it kind of depends. Like some people like to press a lot of buttons, and other people like to keep things more simple. Probably just a preference thing. I wouldn't spend hours and hours trying to perfect my like preset camera positions by any means. But if you can
Yeah,
find a way
true.
to integrate it into your hotkeys, that doesn't like make you have
If
to.
it feels good, it
Yeah,
feels good. Yeah.
exactly.
Just do whatever works for you. Yeah, William Lowe is saying recent event is what I'm thinking about. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Which it goes to pings, which is can be pretty useful unless you're in a pub and somebody's like spam pinging you. And then you got some issues. Oh,
That's
there's another
funny.
one that I was thinking about that I'm drawing a blank on now.
How to counter Timbersaw in low level pubs. Build a spirit vessel as your first item. Doesn't matter what
Yeah,
position you're playing.
rush vessel. You need a vessel for sure. But yeah, Fuzzy. I think those things are good, but definitely underused. There's plenty of that. Oh, I remember what it was that I was drawing a blank on. There's a setting that you can set that makes it so that when you click an enemy hero, their portrait comes up somewhere else rather than at your main bar, your main
Oh
UI.
yeah.
That stays the same. And I was talking to Kyle at Midas Mode, and he was saying like technically this is much better because you can both see the enemy and you at the same time. So you can look
Right.
at your resources while also looking at theirs. You can even keep it locked on them so you can see while you're laning like what tangos and things like that for like these long periods. So it's good, but it's hard to get used to if you played Dota for a while. So That's another underused but cool,
I'm
useful
trying to
thing.
find it.
I don't remember what exactly it's called. It's one of those hard to find ones because I couldn't turn it off is the problem. I wanted to turn it off and I
Gotcha.
couldn't goddamn find it. It's somewhere in there. Okay, Average Peen says, "Do you guys ever meet up with each other?" We've met once in person. I'm in Ontario. You're in Oregon, right? So
Yeah.
we're pretty far. We might soon, though. We might soon. We'll see how that opportunity goes. Which we'll definitely make some content while we're doing said work if we end up doing that.
Yeah.
And you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, we met once at a LAN where we were casting together, and that was a year ago, I guess. Something like that.
That was a good experience. I have to say, I look back on that very fondly.
That was super fun.
I enjoyed that. The only thing that was bad about that for me was that it was in Toronto, and I was flying from Denver from the Moonduck House to Toronto, and I was kind of homesick. And it's like
Mm,
I live nearish to Toronto, so it felt weird to be flying home, but then just flying back without seeing my family or friends or anything. And
yeah.
like I wasn't going home, but I was like I flew back to Denver just to fly back home like 2 months later. So it was a little sad for that. I was like, oh man, I wish I could see. I tried to get my dad to come down Toronto to Toronto, but we were there for like what 1 day. We like
Yeah,
flew in one
it
day.
was like 2 days.
Yeah, it was
It was fun playing at the LAN center though after the tournament was over.
that was awesome. That
Five
was
stack,
awesome.
me, you, Breaky, Godzi, and Tsunami. That was
Yeah,
some
that was
fun
so
games.
fun. That was super fun. That's the best Dota, man, when you're partying with your boys.
And you're all in the same room together. Yeah.
Yeah. In Dota related, how do I not feed when I yank mid as a 4 in the first 10 minutes or so? Jungle in the area, if you want to sit there and soak XP, you just jungle the medium cap and you just be okay with the fact that the invoker who's got 5 levels on you on the enemy team is denying all of the creeps. Or you can just nuke the wave out and head to the jungle. Like you just play it like a mid laner, but the worst thing that you can do is walk up and try to CS as if you're some epic like mid laner guy. You're not. So don't don't do that. It can be very sad as a support if you try to do that.
Yeah. I think that one thing that's super underutilized, I don't see anyone doing this except for in like high immortal pubs, except for me in my games. I'm not saying this is like a boast. I'm saying everybody should fucking do this. If you're a support and your team has abandoned a tower and you're in the area, just walk up, aggro the creeps, and run towards your tier 2 and just pull the creeps off the tower. Just do that over and over and over, and you'll get a bunch of farm, and the enemy will have to either tank your tower to take it, or they will back off because they don't have a creep wave to tank the tower. You can delay people taking your towers so long by just pulling the creeps away from your tower, away from hitting your tower, and it just reduces the amount of pressure that the other team can put on the
I
map.
gotta say, that is one of the least it's like it's one of those things that's well known. Everybody knows that you can move creeps around, but people play as if they're stuck in the lanes.
Yeah,
Like not only can you pull it to your tier 2, you can pull it to your triangle. You can
yeah,
pull it to a medium cap.
yeah,
If they're playing on the left of a lane, you can grab the creeps and literally just pull them to the right. For some reason, people static and play in lanes as if the creeps are stuck there, but you can just it's so much safer to grab a creep wave and be in the danger spot for 1 second instead of killing the whole wave there for 10 seconds. So why in God's name are you sitting mid and hitting creeps when you can just pull them?
yeah,
Not referring to average PM, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen a lot of people, they sit there and they hit, and it's like, man, you know those things follow you, right? There's something called aggro. You know that.
yeah,
Everybody knows that. It's just for some reason it's solidified in our brains that this is the lane, this is where the creeps die. It's like, well, there's no equilibrium. Just grab them and run.
yeah.
Go to your
Exactly.
goddamn fountain if you have to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Millennial says, or they can dive the tower and kill you. You're not sitting there and hitting the creeps. You're literally just dragging them until the other team can't pressure you. Or if they do dive you in between your tier 1 and tier 2 with your tier
Oh,
1
that's
still up,
feeding.
then they just
That's
feed.
feeding.
Your team TPs in and kills them. So, yeah,
Yeah. Unless you're playing in like literally Herald where people don't even know how to use teleport scrolls or something.
exactly.
Then you probably got some other issues
Yeah.
you want to maybe go see a doctor about. Also, Jenkins, what do you do as a 3? What do you love seeing your 4 doing in the first 3 to 5 minutes? Who are some of the best 4s you've ever played with? The single greatest 4 that I've ever played with is he's probably he's one of my best friends. I don't know if I'd say he's my best friend because there's so many friends out there and different levels of friendship and different friends mean different things to you. But anyway, I digress. My best friend's probably my mom or my dog, but Newsham is just insanely good at figuring out when he can leave me alone and fuck off, which is great because then I get solo XP. And then he kills another lane. He comes back with like 2 levels because he got a double kill, and then he's huge, and then we pressure. And I love that. I love when my fours go away and give me the lane when they know that I can take it. And I get that that's like a 50-50 thing, right? That's like on me to say, hey, I know my hero. I can solo this, but it's also on them to recognize that they don't need to be here and that there are other lanes that they can contribute in, or they go stack. Also, one thing that I do have to say about like the difference, in my opinion, between a good four and a bad four is that good fours will stop the enemy supports from pulling. Bad fours will sit in the trees and do nothing. Whenever good fours would be over and messing with the pulls. If you get me in equilibrium in front of my tower and you sit in the enemy jungle, just hitting the 5 and making sure they can't pull, I'm going to carry you in that game because if the creep wave is in front of my tower, I'm going to get every single last hit. I'm going to get so many items. And man, like any idiot can carry with tons of items in an easy game, right? It's easy. Like I'm not going to say the term, but there's a term in NA that's used to describe this buffing method where you buff somebody who's kind of a moron. And basically it's just kind of understood in the NA kind of pro scene community, semi-pro or whatever, that even if you have morons on your team, if you get them strong enough, you can lead them essentially to win the game for you.
Yeah.
Because like you can support your way to like 7-8K. That's one of the common misconceptions that people have tried to disprove by coming up with this kind of concept that you buff it. You find an idiot that is at least good at casting spells. You buff them, give them items, and then even though they're an idiot and they're not doing the right things, you're good enough that you're kind of enabling them to do the right things. And that is really a thing.
Right.
That works, and that's what fours can do for their position threes. Because I'm an idiot, like I said. The reason that I win every time I play with Newsham is because he just makes my game free, and then it looks like I'm doing an epic job and sick, but it's literally the support. Like games are so based on supports, honestly.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, Hockey Laner says, a while back during the roaming / jungling meta, it was acceptable for the solo offlaners, if they couldn't fully contest CS, to sit in the trees and just soak XP as long as he didn't die in the lane or feed the lane. These days, if an offlane duo is zoning the safe laner, it is considered unacceptable for him to do the same. What are your thoughts on this double standard? Is it due to creep values / denies changing, or is it due to a better understanding of how Dota is to be played? I love how good this question is. This is a really good question. I don't think it's ever acceptable anymore. Offlaner, carry, never acceptable. There is always something that you can do in a game, and if you can't figure it out, it's because you're too stupid at the game to figure it out. Just being 100% frank. And that's just like, there's so many things over the years that we didn't know were possible in the game that totally broke the game, that like you have these methods to use and then probably dozens of undiscovered methods to use as well. If you sit down and you think about a game long enough, you can figure out what it would have taken to win that game 100%. It just might be hard to execute, but I'm saying like hypothetically there is something that you can do. I'm not saying you will execute it. I'm saying hypothetically you can. So I don't think it's ever acceptable. We have enough methods for getting something in a lane that you should never just sit and get zoned in a lane.
Yeah.
Also partly due to denies changing.
I do want to say that there is sort of there's levels to it. I mean, I agree that you should never just be AFK waiting for experience to happen. But there are some circumstances where the lane is pushing up, you're not quite ready to pull, or maybe your support is pulling currently, and there's like 2 or 3 CS that are kind of closer to the enemy tower, and if you want to run up to try and contest them, then they will kill you or do a bunch of damage to you. At that point, it's okay to just kind of sit there and watch those creeps die, and maybe try and aggro pull 1 or 2 of them off if you can, but sometimes you literally just have to sit there in lane doing nothing for like 10 seconds until the creep equilibrium pushes back towards you or the pull happens. That's
agree.
okay.
It's like it's one of those things, BSJ, the boy, he says that in Dota there are rules, but there are so many exceptions. You cannot take things like 100% truthfully. And this is one of those cases, like you should never sit there and soak unless it's like because there's not enough time to do something else, which is this situation that you're essentially stating, and that the creep wave is about to come to you anyway. Like that's a situation where it's basically acceptable. And next question, Hockey Leader has another question. He says, "Why has pulling the second creep wave behind a tier 1 become obsolete?" It actually hasn't.
No.
It's coming back in high graded games, and it might not have trickled down to like the kind of ancient level yet, but it is happening almost every game right now in high level games because people are tri-laning,
Yep.
they're picking hard counters in the safe lane and things like that. So
Yeah, the main reason that it wasn't a thing is that every
you
off
pressure
lane was just winning the lane, basically. So
exactly.
you,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
just wanted to play in their face constantly.
right. Precisely. That's a
Yeah.
simple one. Hockey Leaner, how does armor work? I was listening to a coaching session where Jenkins, that's coachman.com/Jenkins, mentioned on how an axe phase boots is really efficient because it gives him 6 armor. I think it's less. I think it's like 5 armor. But
It's
in
only
any
4
armor,
now.
is it only 4? Really?
Yeah.
I thought chainmail was 4, phase boots was 5. Okay, that's crazy. Any armor after that is really inefficient. I had no idea about this. You use some word like logarithmically. I actually got called out on this for God. This is right before we were doing this podcast. Some guy called me out on my other channel, my personal channel. He's like, Jenkins called it logarithmic. It's not logarithmic. Okay. I want to make a statement on that. The graph, if you look at the amount of physical resist you get for armor for each point, it scales to be less and less and less per point. The graph looks logarithmic. Like you can put them right over each other, and it's like it's scaled to the left, right? Because minus armor does give you plus damage, but it does it's obviously not actually logarithmic. But for me, because I come from a CS background, the way that I remember these kind of diminishing returns, I think okay, it's basically some factor of a logarithmic function,
Is the
which essentially
logarithmic curve, is that the one that's like a sine wave, or is that the one that's like it never touches either the y or the x-axis and it's like a
no. Okay, so basically the
I'm gonna have to
logarithmic
look this
curve.
up.
The interesting thing about log is that like technically log of infinity is infinity, right? Like it goes up infinitely. It doesn't actually asymptote, like it doesn't, I think that's the word. It doesn't actually like curve to a certain point. It's infinite.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Okay.
but if you take the log of like 10 million 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 million, it's like 1,000. If you take the log of 10 billion 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 billion, it's like 1,010 or something. Like that's the interesting thing about the log is that the higher and higher you go, it doesn't really increase by that much, but it doesn't stop at a point.
I
And
see.
that's the difference between the Dota armor function and logarithmic function is that the Dota armor function actually stops at like 108%, which is really weird. You need like insane amounts of armor, but it does actually stop. So that's the difference. But the way that I think about it is like, okay, this is similar enough to like logarithmic growth that I can just call it logarithmic.
But nope, because you're in the YouTube comment section and people will just argue to argue.
Well, yeah, he was being very, very literal with it, and but it's like I said, I'm from a CS background, so it's not, it's maybe I should be less, maybe I should be more technical just with respect to be like, okay, it's because I didn't say it's technically logarithmic. I said it's like it is logarithmic, which is actually wrong. It's just that by that I just mean it's simplest for me to say it's logarithmic. That's just yeah, and Kashim is right. It does depend on what log base you're taking as well. There's many, but that's why I was saying it's some factor of a logarithmic growth. And in CS, they call it big O, the big O notation. When you say O of log n, if something is like 2 log n or log n plus 50, you just say that's log n because when the number gets high enough, it's just effectively log n. Like the functions look identical on a graph if you put that to a huge number. Anyway, we'll stop talking about this because
Yeah,
this shit
my
is
eyes
probably
are glazing over at this point.
this is yeah. Anyway, okay, this is probably boring the shit out of people. But Hockey Leader asked, okay, so I'm okay with calling it logarithmic because it looks exactly like a logarithmic curve, but technically speaking, it's not.
Whose math homework are we doing right now?
Pegasus says tips on drafting a counter to a position 5 Venomancer when you're playing position 4. The lane can be so cancer. I know the real answer is to side pull or cut the wave. Same question if we're playing a position 3 Veno. If we're playing or playing position 3 versus position 3 versus a position 5 Veno. So Veno's position 5 and all of these things.
Yeah, your options are to either shove the wave into their face and side pull, so you only have to play against the Veno, or pick heroes that can immediately jump on top of them and kill them. You don't want to just try and like out trade, out harass a Venomancer, but if you pick 2 stuns like Leshrac Sand King or something like that, then you just go kill the Venomancer because he's slow and can't get away.
Yep. Yep. So I was reading stuff about the armor calculations in chat that are interesting. Ninja Pirate saying some good shit. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But I'm looking at you, Ninja Pirate. I'm telling you, what you're saying is pretty cool shit. I actually like what you're saying there. But anyway, um, kill Veno. He's a dog shit hero in like the early levels. His wards are really easy to kill. Get heroes that don't care about getting slowed. Like if you can get some Lycan
Weaver.
or some Weaver, yeah, you can really punish that hero. You definitely don't want to just play against a Veno and not like counter the Veno. Also, you need to just get like magic resist, get like bracers, get headdress because it gives you the little the HP regen, and then eventually get a pipe.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. Wink says, "Can you please name the position 1 heroes on which we should go phase over treads?" Uh, I mean,
I
if you
wouldn't.
want to go phase. I would say like if you think it's just a good game for it, that you're getting kited, you want move speed, like Ursa is
Yeah.
one of them. Bloodseeker because he gets attack speed already is another one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's not something that you should really just say these carries we go phase, these carries we go treads, because it kind of depends on who you're playing against. If you're against a bunch of physical damage, obviously that's a plus towards phase. If you're a hero that has an inherent crit or procking thing, or you're planning on going for a procking item such as Maelstrom, treads tend to be a little bit better. But it also just depends on how the game's going as well. Sometimes you have to go phase because you need to fight. Sometimes you want to go treads because you're going to farm more.
Treads these days are just generally considered the better item
Yeah.
because it's cheap, very
And
cheap, efficient
phase
build
boots
up.
have been nerfed like 8 patches in a row.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really specific heroes like Ursa who gets attack speed, Bloodseeker who gets attack speed and also wants the move speed. Ursa wants the move speed.
Life Stealer,
It's
same thing.
sometimes Lifestealer, yeah, but I people are still actually going treads because they go like Maelstrom, Basher sort of thing on Lifestealer,
Hmm.
even just because the boots are treads are just so good. Like that's people. I think most people consider treads a broken item. Like most pros, I should say, consider treads a broken item right now. Even like offlaners who would normally like people are. Brax was going treads on Puck, and I was going travels every game, and I tried treads, and I was like, holy shit! It feels like you get this item so quickly, and the buildup is I go for like the robe of magi, so I get the extra damage,
Yep.
and then you get the attack speed thing, which is extra damage, and then you finally get boots, and it's like the buildup is so insanely good.
Yep.
Does Dota Alchemy answer questions in chat? Yes, we do. Okay, let's see. We have one more. Cordy says, "Hi there, new here. Welcome. I've always had issues to communicate. I know this is a hard topic, but I heavily try with low results. Recently, 6 months or something, I reached 10,000 behavior score, but it didn't fit my inquietude. Inquietude? Is that a word?
Quietude, yes, is a word. Means propensity to be quiet, right?
Physical or mental relentlessness or disturbance. Didn't fix his disturbance. Dog, that is a cool word, and I'm going to use that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Inquietude. Am I pronouncing that right?
Quietude? Quietude, I think.
Inquietude. Cool. I can't proper follow my team, nor my team can't follow me. Even if I'm pretty fat and communicating like 4 times, let's do this, follow me, help me get Aegis, etc. Okay. So you're basically struggling with communication, is what
Hey,
you're
isn't
saying in parts.
everybody? Isn't everybody? Um, sorry to jump in here.
No, go
I'm
for it.
very passionate about communication as a support player. And my biggest tips are number 1, use alt pings as much as possible because those are translated into the person's native language that they play the game in, and that can help a lot. Also, it's generally seen as part of the game and less annoying than somebody talking to you on the mic.
Yeah.
Number 2, um, if you are going to use your mic, and I highly recommend that you do, keep your information or keep your talking to like pretty much strictly information based things. Like, I have black hole in 25 seconds, don't fight.
I
I'm
have Blink.
Yeah, that kind
Shit
of
like
stuff.
that.
Or I'm going on this hero now, like that kind of stuff. um you said that you communicate stuff like 4 times. People will probably mute you the second time you do that. So being repetitive, sometimes you need to, but most of the time it's just going to tilt your teammates. And then the last thing that I would say is think about Dota in a much broader perspective than just like you're on a team with these people. Dota is a game where you're put into a situation that you have to solve a problem with four other people that you've never met before. They have no reason to trust you. They have no reason to like you. They're just randomly put on your team. And most of the time, they actually have reasons to dislike you because they're coming off of a loss with their terrible teammates from the last game.
Are you taking a role from them, or they
Yeah.
don't like the hero you're picking?
So you actually start the game at a net negative most of the time in terms of your relationship. And think about it like The Sims. You actually have to build a relationship with your teammates. You start out with like, I don't know, a broken heart or whatever the meter is. You're very low in their respect scale and their listening to you scale. And you have to actually build that up over the course of the game. And some of the best ways to do that are, if in the early game, just doing very basic stuff correctly, making a call. Hey, I'm coming top to fight the bounty runes. That's your communication. You go, you get a kill. Those people are probably going to listen to you the next time that you make a call. If the bounty rune fight fails, they're not going to listen to you, and you should probably not make any more calls until the game is going well. That's literally how you have to communicate in pubs. Is think about your reputation with them, and if it's bad, don't communicate. If it's good, feel free to make some calls in like a very simplistic way.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, honestly. Everything you said, I totally agree with. This leads into the next question, where Party said, "Did you guys watch True Sight? Any surprise reaction?" I did watch True Sight, and one of the things that stood out to me there was that Kuroki won the first game and then told his team, "Just listen to me. I want you guys to focus. No more of that go 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 shit. That shit is bad." Like he said that them saying, and you can hear them because it shows you the booth audio.
Yeah.
The relentlessness of them communicating, "Just go rush, just go rush, just do this, just do this." Like that wasn't good, and Kuroki actually called them out for it, and they almost lost because of their they weren't they weren't
They're
chill, they
making
weren't
bad
calm.
calls because they were
Yeah, and
too hype.
dude, they threw. Did you see that Roche fight? Why
Yeah.
the fuck would you fight Roche with two heroes dead, no buyback?
Yeah.
You've tied. Why would Mind Control go in there and ravage? You know why? Because they were too amped up for no reason.
Yep.
It was too much emotion. And then you have these good players who normally play focus, but they lost their focus because, like Hiroki said, OG's the team that breaks people's focus. That's what they did. That's how they win.
Yep.
So, yeah. So basically, I agree with everything Donnie said, and I think Kuroki does too. Where you just, and I can tell you that playing with S4 sometimes in pubs, playing with just different, Fly, these different tier one players, they don't say much. They just
Right.
say, "I have this. I'm coming top. Can we kill top?" It's like 90% of the game, it's just empty space. Maybe more than that. Nobody says anything. Maybe some pings on things like ping, blink dagger ready. That's it.
Yeah. I
That's all
mean,
you need to do.
you looked at OG's communication in True Sight, and it was very much like that. Jarix would be like, I'm going in. Ana would be like, just nothing. Wouldn't say anything for the entire game, basically. Thompson, same thing. And then, No Tail would hype people up if they made a good play. Like, that's the only time that they actually got really loud. Most of it was literally just like Jarix and Seb being like, I'm initiating now. And like,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Or calling out the target that they wanted to take out first.
Yep. Yep. True Sight, surprise reaction. I haven't watched all of it yet because I've been writing notes on it. I wasn't intending to do that at first. I was actually just watching it for enjoyment. And then like I heard something, I was like, "Oh man, that confirms this thing that I thought about like tier 1 teams." I couldn't believe it because I've never listened to like booth audio before.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I guess with the knowledge that I had, that like I thought that this thing was good. And then I just wrote it down, and then I just kept writing notes and writing notes. So I'm kind of slowly working my way through it, really trying to like digest it all, because I find it so fascinating the way these guys communicate with each other, and the way that Seb like pumps his team up. Like for instance, when he talked with like Ana, when Ana fucks up his buyback, so he doesn't just come out of the game shitting on Liquid or something and saying they're bad, don't worry, we'll win the next game. He doesn't do something neutral, as in, don't worry, it's okay, you didn't throw that game. He does something strictly positive. He says, "Man, you fucking carried us that whole game. Don't
Yep.
worry about it. Like, you were owning so hard. You're so good." He went with the positive instead of either negative or neutral. He
Yeah.
didn't say anything negative. I mean, he did say a lot negative about Liquid because, of course, he's doing that as well. But the most important thing to him was was getting Ana to the point where Ana is confident again. Not just, hey, that wasn't a bad loss, because that puts him to neutral state. He wants Ana to be in a confident, positive state. So he does that. And I found that super fascinating. Like, so much of the stuff in that is just, you can see why these guys are in the position that they're in to make millions of dollars playing something at the highest possible competitive level.
Yeah,
It's
I was
it's their
nerding out
personalities.
about Seb's communication as somebody who really is into like the coaching and the mindset stuff. I was just like, oh my god, he's being such a good leader right now, such a good captain. Even though he's not actually the captain, he's like being such a good captain right now, leading
Yeah.
his team in the right direction. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised at how toxic Kuroki was, but he, is a little bit understandable. I don't think that he's a toxic player by any means. I really
I've
don't.
heard that. I've heard that about him. I've heard that he's very like drill sergeant, but he shows you love though. Like,
Yeah, no, and I want to clarify before um, people take this out of context. I don't think that he's toxic, but I know that he communicates better than he did in True Sight because we've seen him in other True Sights where he is a very, very good leader. But I thought that there was moments you could like see cracks in his armor in this True Sight, and that's why they lost.
of course,
Their
yeah.
their communication was just not very good in the booth. It was very clear that they were definitely a lot more stressed than in previous True Sights that we've seen them play in.
Yeah. I definitely agree that they were like clearly way more stressed, and they did some not normal stuff for them, to
Yeah,
say the least. I mean, especially in that first game, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Like, well, then again, I haven't seen the other ones, so but I can say, like, in that first game, that Roche fight, man, that was crazy. I can't believe nobody called that off. I can't believe nobody called that off. That was just like, you could tell they all had the gut butterflies where they just were really,
Oh
really
no,
felt like
we
their
can't give
throats
this up. Yeah.
were fucked. Yeah, yeah. So it's crazy that they actually ended up winning that because OG threw subsequently. But anyway, that's it for the questions. We're done with this episode. We just hit the 60-minute mark.
Cool. We'll do a speed round for like 2 minutes from chat. So get your questions in chat. We
Okay.
want to show you guys some love for showing your support to us. We've got almost 300 people watching us on Alchemy
Crazy.
Answers. That feels crazy. I can't believe
Yeah.
we've come this far.
Where are you guys from, by the way? Where we got any
Yeah, put it in chat where you guys are from, what country. I'm always curious.
when are you
Uh,
gonna start your own team? Alchemy team? India. Man, I'm watching a guy called Bald and Bankrupt. I'm going through his India series where he travels in India. It's so funny. Pakistan, actually, I hear that's pronounced that way. Philippines, of course, Australia,
that's awesome.
which apparently is also a continent.
Dude, all
East
over
US.
the place. This is so cool.
Maple Syrup Island or Maple Syrup Land. Oh, hey, me too. Japan. Ooh, I love Japan. Serbia. Crazy.
Syria, Vanuatu.
Uruguay.
Vanuatu? Are you actually from Vanuatu? No way, man.
Yeah, what is? I've never even heard of
It's
Vanuatu.
like
What?
the
Where is that at?
tiniest island in Southeast Asia.
Ecuador, Trinidad, and Tobago. Damn.
I'm on the moon right now. Hey, man, me
That
too.
is so cool. Libya. Man, that is so cool. We're such a diverse group of lads.
All right, thoughts on the new Oracle talents? 15 in Purifying Flames CDR. Probably CDR, honestly.
Okay, I thought you meant are they good? I think they're both garbage.
Yeah, I think you probably go CDR. They don't sound good to me, but you probably just go CDR because who fucking cares about Oracle's int? Like, you're never right clicking in fights, and you don't need the mana because you're just casting like 2 spells.
How do you lane against Veno when you're solo as a carry? You pick Weaver or Morphling. No one from China. That is true. Maybe we got some like Chinese Canadians, Chinese Americans. Also Iran.
What's your
Hello.
opinion on turbo mode games, Jenkins?
It's like a mini game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can't
enjoy
stand
them
it.
that much.
No, it's not.
Apparently, people just use the couriers to do meteor hammers in the base, which is pretty lame.
That's pretty funny actually,
You
but
couldn't kill them
sounds awful.
because couriers are unkillable.
Can we confirm that Tusk is a garbage hero? I don't believe he's a garbage hero.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see it.
Especially with tri-laning potentially coming back. Tusk is one of those heroes that is very scary in a tri-lane.
230 armor is equal to 100% armor reduction. Yeah, it actually, I think I plugged in the equation on Wolfram Alpha. It actually scales to 108%, which is really weird.
What do you think of Medusa's new speed boost? Sounds kind of disgusting to me.
Um, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she's good.
Is IO carry still viable?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think it really was that timing of the Ags plus level 15 that we saw at TI
Yeah,
that made it
yeah. That
OP.
that was a very specific thing. Undying solid now. I think Undying's probably decent. There's a few heroes that I have to see.
I've played one game with him so far, and I will tell you that I believe the build is to go phase boots on the hero every game, regardless of your position, because you get 30 bonus flat movement speed from your ult, and you can actually stick on anybody, and you just punch them, and they can't kill you. It's amazing. They have massively overbuffed him at this point, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let me look. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about a lot of these new heroes. It's time will tell. Slaughter has a 57% win rate if you want some free wins, guys.
Yep. Jug's win rate went up a bunch. Sven's did too. Zeus still good as a 4th, 5th. I still pick it as a 4 or 5 if the other team picks like 2 invis heroes, and I just don't really want to buy sentries all game. And there's just not enough sentries anymore, so I will pick Zeus to do that, and it often wins me games. Miracle or Sumail? Jenkins. You guys think Mars is viable? Definitely.
Yes, broken hero.
Definitely very good. He's also one of those very overbuffed heroes because they nerfed him a bunch when he first came out. And they've just been buffing him. They gave him a slow on his rebuke.
The hell? Yo, how can you give a skill shot hero a setup? Imagine if they gave Mirana a stun, or like a stun to set up, or they gave Pudge a stun to set up the hook. Like, what the hell?
Yep.
Wild.
Return of Side Shop soon. Nope. Definitely not coming back. They're simplifying the map. Where's the donate button? Patreon.com/DotaAlchemy if you want to support your boys.
CoachBin.com/Jenkins, CoachBin.com/Alchemy-Elevated. I gotta take that dash out of that URL for you.
Just put Elevated. Why is it Alchemy? Why did you put Alchemy in there?
I'll go do that now actually for you. I don't know why I did that.
Sometimes I appreciate you making the site. It's fun to use. I'm doing coaching tomorrow. It's gonna be great. All right. Final question is going to be from Ramad Arif. What do you think of the new Outpost Vision? I think it's a little too small personally, but I like that it's not overwhelmingly overpowered like it was before.
I think it should be I think it should be flying and just small, because people are hiding behind trees. People are doing it from the low ground. I changed your URL, by the way, so it's coachbin.com/elevated if you want some Donnie coaching. Okay,
I'll have to change that.
We can put those in the description too. I'll do that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it should be flying and maybe just small.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you have enjoyed this stream. We will be back on Thursday for replay review. Are we going to be doing that live or putting the VODs up later?
I think we'll do it live, honestly. Okay, yeah. We're not totally sure, but we have some more group content coming out tomorrow. And we're going to really try and get the schedule going where you guys are consistently getting Heroes of the Week, joint content between us, including tier lists, meta report, and then some other good stuff in there as well. So thank you as always for the support. Patreon.com/DotaAlchemy. Thank you to our patrons, and we will see you next time. See you later.